Ton 618 is
not the hardest level in Geometry Dash. It doesn't have the most frame perfects. It's not the hardest spam challenge, and it definitely has nothing to do with the best player. The amount of comments that mention Ton 618 with zero reasoning is actually baffling. It seems like someone could be watching a short about anything Geometry Dash related, and without thinking, they would just comment, "What about Ton 618?" I actually counted, and there's over 500 comments mentioning this level. For calculating the hardest level, we use the hardest impossible level list because the levels are considered physically possible and you could beat them if you're a robot. There's actually two more lists called the hardest PPL list and the hardest theoretically possible levels list, where you have to have an FPS count of this number, which is literally just letters, and it's called the BMS limit, to show a big number that's close to infinity. There's actually so many lists for Geometry Dash that there's a list for lists. And do you want to know where Ton 618 stands in those lists? It doesn't. In fact, it's in the hardest physically possible level list, where it's not in the top 10, top 20, or top 30. It's in 40th place! This level has been so overhyped and planted into people's brains when in reality, it's just a random level in a random list.
This Geometry Dash YouTuber is
once again abusing YouTube's copyright system. Now, I'm obviously not going to name them because I don't want him to strike me or even touch me. But this is the second time this has happened where he has falsely given us a channel strike. The first time was back on November 7th, 2024, where we talked about the most hated player, where we briefly mentioned him and his disturbing past while showing a thumbnail for a split second, which you might already know if I just say Tienes 14. This caused him to give us a channel strike for that thumbnail, which wasn't even his, since it was an edited version, which can still easily be found anywhere. Even though the strike was clearly false, YouTube had no choice but to comply, as he's the bigger creator and they didn't want to put up with any legal action. And not to mention, trying to appeal a strike is impossible, as you are literally handing over your personal information to the person who claimed the video while they get to decide whether or not it's false. He then did this again only a few days ago for using B-roll from one of his videos, which is completely abusive. If simply using other people's B-roll in a transformative short was enough for a channel strike, this channel wouldn't exist. I've seen people comparing this to Space UK and how he's returned after learning his lesson, but comparing someone who cheated in a video game versus someone who's groomed underage children is stupid.
the highest heart rate in Geometry Dash
has been beaten once again. It's actually getting to a point where it's kind of concerning. For the longest time, the highest heart rate was 215, which was already insane. But then it got beaten like 3 more times within a few weeks. And now there's someone who's got 233 beats per minute when they were only 19% into the level. This kid was literally doing breathing exercises when being nowhere near to the end. People have always made the joke that someone might get seriously injured by playing a game where all you have to do is click, but the fact that it's becoming more and more of a possibility is actually insane.
I know your secret way, not Vixios. Nice secret way, channel Vixios.
There is no way you guys are actually being serious. Taking a quick look at the Secret Way channel page and scrolling down. Wow, would you look at that? Let's look at this video description. Scripted and edited by, you guessed it, not Vixios. Going to the live stream page. Oh, that's just my face. All the live streams are Ben Carr and not Vixios. It is not a secret.